So you mean to tell me I have a 5-year-old and I had no idea about this?
David, if you do not believe, you can do a DNA test.
You disappeared.
Because your mother warned me not to.
When all hope seemed lost, boom, his first love suddenly appeared, holding the hand of a 5-year-old child. Claiming the child was his. Could it really be true? Come with me. Let's find out what happened together. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of today's interesting movie, where we bring your favorite actors and actresses right to your screen. This movie will have you at the edge of your seat, and you're definitely going to learn a lot of life lessons from it. But before we dive in, please subscribe to this channel for more captivating movies from us. The movie begins with a young, handsome, and wealthy man named David, dressed elegantly in a suit. He looked anxious as he prepared to propose to his girlfriend. His friend was hyping him up, encouraging him to go for it. After a short pep talk, David left. At the restaurant, David waited patiently for his girlfriend. When she finally arrived, they exchanged pleasantries and complimented each other's looks. They ordered food, but as Iveren enjoyed her meal, she noticed David wasn't eating and looked very anxious. Concerned, she asked if he was okay. Suddenly, David stood up, got down on one knee, and pulled out a ring, asking her to marry him. Overwhelmed with love and excitement, Iveren accepted the proposal. They hugged each other deeply in love. Meanwhile, we meet a pretty young lady named Ama, sitting beside her sick daughter, Diva, looking extremely worried. Her friend walked in and asked if she had given Diva any medication. Ama replied that she had given her a painkiller and a warm tablet. Shocked, her friend asked her to come outside to talk privately. Outside, her friend told her to call Diva's father, reminding her she couldn't keep struggling alone when the child has a father. But Ama was hesitant. She didn't want to cause problems in his home, knowing he was engaged. As they talked, Diva suddenly screamed from inside. They rushed back in. Moments later, Ama was clearly upset, pacing around and complaining bitterly. The next day, Ama and Diva were seen in a public bus heading somewhere. A few minutes later, Ama was knocking at someone's gate. Iveren came out and asked what she wanted. Ama said she wanted to see David, claiming he was an old friend. Although confused, Iveren went inside to tell David someone was at the gate to see him. They both came outside and David was shocked to see Ama. Iveren excused herself and left for work. Inside the house, David shouted at Ama after hearing that he had a 5-year-old child. He was furious. Ama, sitting quietly, stood up and told him that Diva was critically ill and needed his help. She pleaded with him sincerely. After a long silence, David asked her to wait outside. Moments later, they were both at the hospital waiting for the doctor. When the doctor arrived, he shared the good news. Diva's surgery was successful, and she was stable. They went inside to check on her. Later that day, David discussed everything with Iveren, including the fact that he might have a child with Ama. He mentioned wanting to do a DNA test to confirm it. Surprisingly, Iveren suggested that Ama and Diva stay in the house until the result comes out. David found her reaction strange and unexpected. But here's the suspense question. Why would Iveren, who should feel threatened, welcome her fiancé's ex and child into their home so easily? Is there more to her than we think? The next evening, David spoke with his friend about the situation, including Iveren's acceptance of Ama and Diva staying with them. The following day, Iveren's friend came over, angrily scolding her for allowing Ama to move in with them. After much argument, she left in frustration. Later that day, Ama was seen walking and talking to her friend on the phone, still processing everything happening. The next morning, Ama and Diva moved into David's house. Iveren welcomed them warmly and showed them to their room. What would you do if your partner suddenly had to take in a child from their past, claiming it's theirs? Would you stay or walk away? Drop your thoughts in the comments. That same day, Ama was in the living room watching TV when David arrived home. She quickly stood up and apologized, saying she was heading to her room. But David stopped her. He wanted to have a serious conversation with her. In the middle of their chat, Little excitedly came out to show her mom a drawing of a cat. When she saw David, she greeted him politely. David smiled and asked her to bring the drawing so he could see it. After a brief conversation, Ama took Diva back to their room to have a shower. That night, David was in the bedroom with Iveren. He opened up to her about how guilty and confused he felt about everything. They got into a short argument, but eventually embraced each other. The next evening, David was seen chatting with his friend, explaining everything that had happened so far. The following day, Iveren and her friend were taking a walk and chatting casually about the current situation. Back at the house, David handed Amma the DNA test results. Things quickly escalated into an argument. David, clearly angry, accused her of walking away from him years ago without any explanation, calling her names in frustration. But then came the twist. Why did Amma leave him without a word years ago? And what secret has been kept from David all this time? Amma, now furious, stood up and revealed everything, how she had suffered all these years, and how David's mother threatened her to stay away from him. David was left speechless, completely shocked by the truth, but Amma simply walked away. That evening, David went out for a jog. When he returned, he found Amma in her room, packing her bags. He stopped her and asked her to stay a few more days, saying he needed time to bond with his daughter. The next day, the three of them were at a clothing store. Diva, excited, tried on a beautiful dress and rushed to show her mom. David encouraged her to pick one more outfit and also insisted that Amma choose something for herself. She refused, but when Diva pulled her to see a dress she picked out for her, Amma had no choice but to follow. Moments later, Amma stepped out in the outfit. Stunning! David couldn't help but stare. Back at home, Amma was seen chatting with Diva, gently telling her that David is actually her father. The following morning, David and Iveren were in their room when Iveren received an urgent call from her office. She woke David, informed him, and rushed out. Later that morning, David came downstairs and saw Amma cleaning the house. For a moment, he stood there, silently watching her, before quietly going back upstairs. A few minutes later, Amma was preparing breakfast for Diva when David walked into the kitchen. Amma asked about Iveren, and David explained she had gone to work early. They ended up chatting, and despite Amma's refusal, David insisted on helping her make breakfast. Soon after, the three of them were sitting at the table enjoying their meal. Just then, Diva called David Dad and asked for more bread. He was surprised, but clearly touched by the moment. Later that day, David was seen laughing and playing joyfully with Diva, completely smitten by his little princess. Meanwhile, Amma, who was on her way home, was on the phone with her friend, telling her about the growing bond between David and Diva. When Amma returned, Diva welcomed her with a warm hug and told her that she and her dad had prepared dinner. Amma smiled and asked about Iveren. David explained that she was stuck in traffic and would be coming home late. Amma went inside to get something, while Diva and David remained at the table, smiling. Viewers, if you were in Iveren's shoes, would you be comfortable with your fiancé building a bond with his ex and daughter under the same roof? Or would you draw the line? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Minutes later, they were all eating. After the meal, Diva thanked them, then gave David a warm hug before following her mom inside. That same day, David was in the kitchen washing the dishes when Amma walked in. Upon seeing him, she quickly turned to leave, but David stopped her. They ended up having a heart-to-heart conversation, where David pleaded with her to stay with Diva, assuring her that he was ready to take responsibility. Suddenly, Amma broke down in tears and hugged him. The next morning, Iveren walked into the room where David was peacefully sleeping and told him she couldn't find Amma and Diva. David, shocked, asked her to check properly. They might be in the restroom, but she had already searched everywhere. He immediately sat up and tried calling Amma, only to find a message from her. She had already left. Why did Amma leave again, this time without a word, just when everything was starting to feel right? Meanwhile, in Ibadan, Amma was with her friend, chatting about what had happened. She admitted that leaving was difficult and confessed that she's still in love with David. 2 days later, David was in his room, looking deeply worried. He walked into the living room, where Iveren had served him food, hoping he had eaten. She was surprised to see the food untouched. She called out to him several times, but he was lost in thought. Only after she raised her voice did he respond. She moved closer to him, concerned, and asked him to eat. David almost snapped but composed himself. That night, David was with his friend, still wearing a moody expression as they talked. The following day, he was seen driving, stress and worry written all over his face. Back at his house, Ibier's friend was seen praying and sprinkling water in the living room. Ibier was shocked and tried to stop her, saying she had something important to share. But her friend refused until Ibier finally told her, Greg is back and currently in Lagos. Greg, Ibier's ex. That caught her friend's attention. Ibier explained everything, including that Greg wanted to get back together with her. Her friend, Omotayo, suddenly became excited for her, leaving Ibiere confused. Just days ago, she had insisted Ibiere fight for David. Now she wanted her with Greg. What a confusing friend. The next day, David was alone in his room, preparing to confront Ibiere. He wanted to end things. Surprisingly, Ibiere was also planning to end the relationship too. Could this be fate guiding them back to where they truly belong? A few moments later, David and Ibiere sat in the room together, having an honest conversation. Ibiere was surprisingly calm and understanding. She returned the engagement ring, but they agreed to remain friends. They shared a light moment, teasing each other before parting peacefully. 2 days later, David showed up at Ama's house to reconcile. She was shocked to see him and asked how he found her address. David explained it was her friend who gave it to him. They sat and talked, and he told her the big news. He and Ibiere were no longer together. He wanted a fresh start with Ama and Diva. That night, David and Ama were seen in the living room watching TV together. One thing led to another, and they shared a kiss. Later in the room, they continued chatting on the phone while Diva was fast asleep. The next day, Ama received a dress from David. He wanted her to wear it for their date. Later that day, Ama showed up at the restaurant looking elegant and beautiful. When David saw her, they hugged, and he complimented her appearance. They spent time talking and enjoying each other's company. After the date, they returned home, spent some quality time together, and eventually went to their separate rooms. Viewers, if someone from your past returned, admitting their mistakes and asking for a second chance, would you open your heart again or close that chapter forever? Let us know what you do in the comments. The next morning, Ama came out and was surprised to see the dining table already set with food. Later that day, Ama, David, and Diva were all playing a game and enjoying a beautiful moment together as a family. As days and weeks passed, Ama and David began to bond and get along very well. 2 days later at night, Ama went to David's room and they shared an intimate moment together. The following morning, Ama stepped out to buy something, but when she returned, she saw David and Ibier hugging. She quietly waved hi to Ibier and went inside. David quickly followed her, sensing something was wrong. Ama began giving him attitude. David realized it was because of the hug he shared with Ibier. He gently reassured her that there was nothing going on between them. He told her how much he loved her and that his heart belonged to her. After hearing this, Ama hugged him. The next morning, David woke up and couldn't find Ama in the house. He searched everywhere, but it finally dawned on him that she had left. He sat down, frustrated and heartbroken. Meanwhile, at Ama's house, Ibiere was chatting with her on the phone, explaining that there was absolutely nothing going on between her and David. While on the call, Ibiere picked out a dress for Ama to wear to the market. Ama was surprised by the choice of outfit, wondering why such a fancy dress was needed just for the market. Still, Ibiere insisted she wear it. Not long after, David showed up. Ama's friend quickly excused them, leaving them alone. They looked at each other, smiled, and shared a quiet moment. A short while later, David took Ama on a drive. She had no idea where they were going, so she asked him. David told her to relax and enjoy the ride. They soon arrived at her uncle's house. Ama was surprised and asked what they were doing there. David explained that he had come to ask for her hand in marriage and that his own uncle was already inside, waiting. Together, they walked in, ready to begin a new chapter of love and commitment. The moral lesson of this movie is, true love always finds its way. No matter the challenges, misunderstandings, or time apart, when two hearts are meant to be together, they will always reconnect. Communication, patience, and forgiveness are keys to lasting relationships. Thanks for watching, guys. Please don't forget to click the subscribe button for more popular and amazing Nigerian movies from us. Till we meet again, bye.